All right, it's 2. We're right on time. If you're watching the VOD, welcome. If you're new to Monsters and Memories and watching the VOD, double special super welcome. Hopefully, once you skip ahead to where stuff's actually getting done today, you find that you enjoy what we're doing. Either way, whether you like this VOD or not, be sure to check out some of the other VODs that the team's posted. It'll give you a better idea of what we're doing in its totality. Give you a holistic view. So, what I'm doing today is going to be placing some NPCs. Let me go ahead and get Unity loading in the background. And probably just doing a little bit of data design. BSing around a bit per normal. Oh, interesting. This looks like the screen back there is misaligned. Let me fix that. It's like, you guys aren't seeing some of what I would expect you to see. Cool. Look at that fist. Reverend Chumley. Hello. I tried to do like an accent just then and I bailed on it. Almost. Did I? Okay. I feel better then. I get self-conscious. Yeah, so if you hear the mic do anything weird today, let me know in real time. I'm thinking that the mic issues last Thursday were maybe a result of it was a rare stream where I didn't restart the day of the stream. And Unity was probably chewing up some resources in the background. So we'll see how it goes today. But if you hear any like popping, clicking, crapping, let me know. But yeah. What am I drinking this morning? A big old cup of whiskey. Actually, just a nice hot cup of coffee. Hey, bullet catcher. How you doing, Justin? BDC Retro's here as well. Hopefully all of you had a great weekend. Oh, I know what else I need to do. Is it on my list? It is on my list of things to do. Let me hop straight into that, actually. Let me hop into doing some dress up. Justin said that he was just watching a trailer for a movie called Jawline, an alien parody with sharks. Interesting. Are the sharks the good guys? Are the sharks fighting the aliens? Is it sharks versus aliens? Well, the catcher said, great is subjective. I'm alive and I still have my job and health. And that's the most I'm asking for right now. You know what, buddy? Sometimes that's the most you can ask for. And I've had periods where, in retrospect, I'm glad I had at least that. You think the sharks are the aliens? That would make sense. All right, so let me That just never goes away. Let me grab database real quick. You know what? I'm gonna open a third window. I'm gonna be crazy. With me being in a database and stuff, I've got this wonderful RuneScape music playing in the background. Hey, Whitechapel. Rev, I know. A bit crazy. I'm gonna drink this coffee pretty fast because I'm really wanting to drink it while it's still hot today for a change. So what I'll do is I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna go into items. Look at the data here. We're going to DB. So let's start with something that's not as crazy looking. So let's go Fire Beetle. Cool. All right. So Nick put in some questable armor this weekend and I played around with some aesthetic stuff. So I've got that over here. I'm just going to move it over here. So you know the scarab armor that you can get in some other games. I played around with what we've got in so far. We don't have a ton of options in at the moment. That's something that Goblin and Zukin are currently working on, and we don't have a ton. We've got plate breastplate to play with. So what I did was I grabbed a little fire beetle, like over here. Oh, that's the old original fire beetle. There we go. So I grabbed a fire beetle and was like, how do I make some armor that looks like a fire beetle chitin? And you know, is there a way using the tool that we've got, right? Basically, I can mess with hue and saturation, value, alpha. Is there a way for me to do it? You know, start to replicate that a little bit in here, by basically just playing with the layers that we have. And so, this was kind of where I landed here, but. When you see it in game, the challenge we have is we've only got a leather pant texture and a leather pant texture and a leather boot texture, which if I were to take and I realized, like, I don't know, was it today that I can just put a comma here? I can put that in there. I can do this. Grab this here. Come in. Put a end. Comma, do another one, commit it again, and then we got the full dress up, but it's a shitload of layers. So it's kind of John Janoskovics, 1994. Hello. Happy Diwali to you as well. For some reason, I thought that was over. I thought that just ended. I thought Ollie was just mentioning that. Either way, anytime somebody wishes anything nice, I'm gonna go with it. So anyways, pants, you can see if we had like a different sort of style, it may match a little bit better. Is that your phone number? Let's see. So, but for now, this will be good enough. This will be good enough. I've got 3 styles sort of cobbled together. But what I wanted to do was... Hey, Remez. I want to add another layer. And... John Januskovics, I'm going to give you one more shot before you are banned. Because it's just weird. It's just a weird thing to come in and do. And we don't really have a lot of weirdness here. It's very strange. We typically are fairly weird free. Okay. This is the weird free zone. Fecal finger painting comes in and it's just like, get rid of that weirdo. We don't need this kind of bullshit in here. Hello, my fecal friend. All right, so let's take this. Let's take this layer that's way down here. You know what? Let's start over. Let's just go straight to plate torso. Commit. And it's going to clear everything but the top. Thought he was speaking in binary or something. I thought so too initially. I thought he was just going to be a little geeky kind of how do you do, but honestly, enacting the sort of once every 2-month ban, there's nothing wrong with that. We can afford to even if I'm wrong in doing it, we can afford to lose somebody once every 2 months. Okay, so here to there to there. There we go. We'll just put a little chainmail underneath it, and that'll be that. That way it's not a belly shirt, and then we'll fix it later once I've got access to more options in terms of like sleeves and wrists and all that stuff and customization. Yeah, so we'll do that now. What I'll do though is I'm gonna tint this chainmail a little bit. That's chainmail torso A. 1. Or no, A. What's this? Is it different? I don't think it is. Okay, so we'll just stick with that. Cool. I mean, in theory, we could also not do chainmail. What we could do is we could do something along the lines of that, right? Does this go full sleeves again? It doesn't. So in theory, we could do that instead of the chainmail. And Ishiwatari, hello, V-Gate. All right, so what do you guys think? Should I just keep it relatively chill and just put a shirt under here and then try to have a match? Or should I actually... I'm going to do that. Because you guys are probably like, do the chainmail. Alright, so let's just do this real quick. Let's get saturation here. Do this. I don't know. Unless this just doesn't look good. If this doesn't look good, then I think you guys are probably right. Let's do, let's wind up just doing the, chainmail. Brown. So do you guys say chitin or chitin? Brown chitin protector or the phase spider carapace? It's funny, we could probably reuse this item for chitin. Okay. Yeah, I tend to be in the chitin camp. Chitin. Let's go back to chainmail. we'll do this. This is kind of popping. That's kind of dope. So this one looks normal. Wait until you see the next two. Excuse me. Alright, we're gonna save that out like that. That looks a bit doper. To me, that's an upgrade. Copy. Yeah, copy. Commit. Let's see them. And then what I'm gonna do now, I think, is I'm probably gonna make the pants darker and the boots darker, just so it's not as pastel-y. A lot of layers to be able to do that, but let's see if we can figure it out real quick. Leave that there. We'll try this one. Okay, that's better. I'm happier with that, I think. And then boots. The boot. Alright. Okay, that's not too bad then. Cool, now I just gotta copy these out individually up here, because it updates these values here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go past plate, everything that's plate torso. Now we're into leather, so that's the right one. Leather legs, leather legs, leather leg. So we're gonna copy that. We're gonna put that over here in our leg in the database. And then for this last bit, the boots, go all the way to the end, copy that. And put that in the boots as well. So next time I repopulate the data in the game, then that's what the outfit will look like. Hello, my sanguinating friend. All right, so we got this outfit. Now, if you want to see, we'll look at the other version, the scarab beetle version. So it's going to be plate torso, comma, legs, comma, boot. And I think this one's really going to look better if I darken it. Hey, Belfaster. All right. So we need to add the chain, and we need to make him a little less minty. A little less minty. I was just trying to match it to the actual, the beetle texture. So because we've got the scarab beetles, and then we got like the fire beetles, and so, but this guy's looking a bit minty. So let's go ahead and add a new layer. Hey, Dargeth. Now we've got this layer way down here. We're gonna make it chain mail. Get him looking a little less like a choreographer on a cruise ship. Alright. We are making beetle armor. So, it's weird because this one I swear looks... It's close to the color range of the beetle, but can probably be a bit darker either way and better. So, let's look at this plate first. We'll adjust the values on the plate, make it a bit darker, and then we'll match everything to it. So, we're gonna make it a little bit darker, maybe... that there. Does this beetle armor make your butt look big? Only when you sit on the camera. I think that probably looked sufficiently scarabby. So now let's get the rest of this stuff in alignment with it. So we're gonna blast on some saturation. Look at the hue. Then we're gonna darken it a fair amount and see if that even works. This one may actually benefit from having a shirt underneath it as well, making it pretty complex. So do you make the full set at once, then chunk it up into individual armor pieces for the different visible slots? So I'm in like a 0.5 version of that, Dargath. What I'm doing right now is actually more like I'm taking art that was the original sort of art that was made, which will then be chunked up even more so. So like right now, this chainmail, the reason why it looks like this is because I put chainmail torso and we only have torso, as opposed to like chainmail chest, sleeves, wrists, right? And so that's something that still I think is has happened, needs to be integrated. But basically, once that's integrated, then I'll be able to pick it as an option, and so I can basically define what I'm working on, right? By at the moment, the way I do it is I just pick the individual item, right? So if we look here, we've got cloth legs or leather legs, leather boots, cloth torso, chain torso, etc. And so what I may do right now is just a part of that is. Yeah, the fishnet is exactly what I'm about to fix by putting something under it like this. So, yeah, you know what? While I got this here, I'll leave that as is for a second. I'll make a new layer. That layer is going to start at the bottom. Hey, Super Ali. And so then I'm just going to move this up. Bup. 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 More popping. So I'm gonna get it all the way up here to the top, and I may need to bring it down one. Then I'm gonna make it chainmail. Yep, I'm gonna bring it down one more. Cool. Then, since it's chainmail, we're gonna do a little bit of color matching to be similar to the last set that we did. Put this about here. Put that around there. It's super bright at the moment, so we're gonna push this value to be darker. I don't care if you can see through the sleeves at the moment. Just because, in theory, they wouldn't even be there. Hold on 1 second, BDC, and I'll actually read that better. I'll try to do a gooder job of reading. Ali, yeah, so we were talking about this very thing earlier today. So Ali just asked, and I'll get back to what you're asking, BDC Retro. Ali just asked, hey, so when you say about making visible slots, did you mean having a sleeve be its individual piece? Yeah, correct. Because like right now, my options are ignoring some of this old stuff that's like deprecated, like eyebrow and shit. Or I guess it's not deprecated, it's just in a category that I don't really screw with ever. So I got chainmail torso instead of chainmail chest. I've got cloth torso instead of like chest, sleeves, wrists. If we were to take this same piece and slice it, like I keep saying, like slice it. So if we slice it at the visible slot area, wherever that's going to be, and that may vary from piece to piece based on our like ordered layering system that we've been talking about, right? Like right now, I've only got full torsos for chainmail, cloth, leather, and then leather boots and leather legs, and then some plate and like plate layered shoulders. But basically all those options should be available in here. And then robe is, I don't even know if it's like working right. Want me to talk you through achieving that? Okay, please open assets, art, texture, blitz. Hold on 1 second. Let me finish this thought on this one and save out the data before we start digging into Unity. When I do dig into there, is that going to be a permanent change then? Or like, will that always be available? Or am I doing something kind of hacky to achieve that right now? Okay, cool. Awesome. So let me save this real quick. Basically, let me save this set so it'll actually take about probably 2 to 5 minutes, if you're still here. And let me answer BDC before I forget. Any armor that may have a graphic for an area until you equip an item, say a piece of armor that shows a graphic on arms but is overwrote if you equip an arm slot item. Okay, if I understand the question, which I think I do, we've been talking about a layering system where by item... Okay, you gotta follow up. What you mean to say is, if you equip a long sleeve shirt on your character, but you put on plate sleeves, it would show cloth on chest, forearms, but not sleeves, etc. If you put on a long sleeve shirt, we would have to design a shirt that was long sleeve, that would basically overwrite those other slots, or that we would want to be layered under those other slots. With our layering system, we can support the concept of that shirt, and then it would basically be prioritized as like below everything else, and then we'd have to see what that looks like. So in theory, if I've understood the conversations between Ollie and the art guys correctly so far, we could basically flag each of our items, visible items, with a priority relative to other items that should allow us to do some mixing and matching like that, if that makes sense. That's not a great articulation, despite what Ollie thinks I'm not very eloquent. But it should get you at least in the ballpark of... I'm pretty sure if whatever you're thinking as a solution, thinking of as a solution is reasonable, that's probably the direction that we're going. And I'm not just saying that. It sounded like a fairly reasonable solution. So I've got this and this cloth underneath. I want to... Ultimately, it'll be a blend of texture and model, right? And being able to mix and match. Yeah, like we're not just doing textures. We've got some modeling tweaks. So we're going like faux old school. Dargit says, by the way, I like what Embers Adrift has done in this area. They have armor inner slots for shirt and pants that are independent of items outside of a cuirass, holds, greaves, etc. So they have visible graphics and stats that show up under major armor pieces. So like a chain halberd is a shirt, and then you can put leather or plate cuirass on top of it. Yeah, but we don't have them as slots. I mean, I think that's something we can revise if we find that our layers aren't working the way that we want. That sounds like a really smart and safe way to just make sure that there's always a base layer. Whereas we're doing that sort of per slot. So in theory, we could do what BDC Retro was saying, if I'm not mistaken, which is design a shirt that's long sleeved and have that be a chest piece, and then it goes in, and then we could define whether or not it gets overwritten. But in that case, to replicate what you're saying, then we could just basically make everything else of a priority that overrides it. And if those pieces have alpha similar to what this chain does, then you would see underneath those pieces the base shirt. So. And I mean, we may find that it's worth just adding like a couple more sort of slots for that specific purpose if we feel like we're always running into like a problem like what I'm hitting here. So, but yeah, it makes sense. It's a good reference. It's really cool that you mentioned that. I'm glad that you used Ember's reference, because it's always nice to see when people are doing stuff. That's worth noting. All right, so. Just real quick so I can wrap this up and get with Ollie, because Ollie, I think, has been trying to show me this for a while, and I just keep thinking that it's automatically going to be done for me because I'm lazy. So let me wrap this up really quick and see if we can make this look a little less Peter Pan-y. Ollie is driving right now? Okay, so I got time. Dargit said, Embers has really impressed me. It'll probably be my home until M&M is ready. That's actually really cool to hear. I tried to get in last weekend, but I got an error when I was trying to pay. So I'm going to try again probably this weekend. And then try to figure out if the error is just a me error or what. Ollie's probably driving something very unusual, like a blimp or that little go-kart laser thing from Howard the Duck. That's a nice Howard the Duck reference. It's true though. Ollie probably is. Ollie's got expensive taste. Ollie's probably driving his gold-plated Lamborghini, going 300 kilometers an hour from Dubai. Dargit said, Embers has feels like a modern old school MMO. But you're saying it in a good way. So do you feel like it's hitting on like that intent that we've been talking about as well, really well? I've watched videos of it before it came out, but like I said, I was not able to get in. I would be curious to see what options I have to sort of clean up my screen space, because that was kind of the biggest, when I was watching gameplay videos of it, that was the biggest, one of the biggest things I kind of noticed. It felt like the screen was really busy. So we're going to see if we can make these legs a bit darker without losing the color, similar to what we just did in the other legs. But still have a match. Like right now, it feels like as I'm doing this, the hue is a bit off, so let's play with that some more. There we go. That's not too bad. You think he's on a gator cycle? I could see that. That's one of those super custom cash shop mounts. Oh, Dargis said yes. I think Ember's design philosophy echoes a lot of what the Eminem team has articulated, at least so far. I'm only like a level 11. Very social, has camps, more involved quests that are worth doing. Slower gameplay and combat pacing. Travel is long enough that choosing to do something is very intentional. Nice. Profits TV, hello. Profits TV. We've had some interesting first-time callers in here today, so I'm going to give you a bot check. Is this pin facing upwards? Close enough. You pass. Do I ever feel like there's some people in the community that want a cash shop? I know for a fact there's some community or people in the community that would want a cash shop because people have mentioned it. And some people are okay with cash shops as long as it's not affecting gameplay or whatever. I'm gonna make the boots a bit darker. The boot. What's that about? Sorry, Canadian friends. It is Unity. We are in Unity. We were gonna pick Unreal, or we were deciding between Unreal and Unity, and we were basically it all came down to Queen Latifah. We were like, what would Queen Latifah be into? And she is into UNITY. I almost spelled Unity wrong. Which engine has the best song? Exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and save this data out. It's enough doodling around here. Ollie's driving, so he's not going to be able to help me with this thing. So we'll do that in a little bit. Isn't there a Rick James one as well? Song Unity? I believe so. That's why he had that ring that he punched Charlie Murphy with. Unity! That's a better decision-making process than you usually utilize? Well, we are pros. You don't spend this much time in the games industry without coming up with a really good 90s hip-hop decision-making process. CJX said, I'm over here repping Godot for a new project since version 4 came out. Ollie too, he's a fan. Don't get it twisted, yo. Ollie is a fan of the Godot. Cool. The legs, we'll put that in there. And just in case I did do anything to the torso, I did actually do some stuff to the torso and getting that layer in there. Cool. Thank you. My tattoos look good at a distance. If you were to see my tattoos up close, you'd be like, you would definitely understand how questionable they are. I wish we could just play normal music and not get in trouble. Alright, so we've got this. Okay, do you want to see, speaking of Rick James, do you want to see the super freakiest armor in the game? Of course you do. deep beetle, chitin armor. So check this out. Check it out. If we go here, deep gnome, deep dunes, deep beetle. The day you answered no to that question is the day you're dead and in the ground. That's hilarious. Okay. So, for those of you that don't remember the deep beetle, these guys can be found underground. If you have not seen the deep beetle, if you're one of our newer friends, does the deep beetle armor come with a cane and a unique pimp walk animation? I have a tiny man. He's a tiny pimp with goldfish in his shoes tattooed right here. Like I said, I've got some questionable tattoos. Do you do all the models yourself and textures? I have single-handedly done everything in the entire project myself. I'm kidding. We've got, our team is sitting at 14 people right now, Prophets. So, we've got some very talented young mans and women to do this. So this was modeled and painted by the wonderful Zukin. If you're interested, in all seriousness, if you're interested in the art side of things, here, let me do something. Let me load my commands up. I'm gonna hit you with 4 people to follow. Nick on the design side. He hasn't streamed in a while, but you can still like bug him in Discord and stuff. Nick on the design side. Also, if you want to learn how to be an incredible quality assurance person. Pattis the Ranger, if you're into environment art, which of course you are. Goblin Works, if you're into concepting and texturing and modeling and a bit of everything. And Zukin Sculpts, if you want to hang out with the person that made this really badass beetle. So Zukin's a little more cult-like than the others, but it's a very great cult. Zukin's stream is hilarious. He is such a funny guy. Every time I watch the stream, there's a solid handful of just like legit laughs and shit. Some of the stuff he says and does is just, his delivery's perfect. Really, really great stream. Hey, Nicodemus. Coffee of the day is Southern Pecan. Nice. Do you say pecan or you say pecan? And yeah, if you're new here and you're not in our Discord, you should be. Do it. Blender for modeling. So when we get back into the game, you'll see I was doing, before we got the artists on the team, so the first year I was doing a lot of the modeling in Blender. So environments were done in Blender and pretty much everything was done in Blender. And since we've added actual artists on the team, I believe it's a mix of Blender and Maya. Excuse me. Pecan, exactly. Y'all got some of that pecan pie? I've spent my time in the South. My passport says Florida. My upbringing, my high school years were in Alabama. So I understand some Southern. All right, so let's look at this crazy ass armor that I made. And by I made, I just mean like I tinted. So we'll toss this in. We'll hit a camera. We'll toss in them legs. Yeah, so if I make like a crazy Southern accent, I'm actually allowed to. I've served my time. That's not even counting my 9 years in Texas. Florida is really its own thing. They got all kinds of wild stuff down there. Yeah. When I was in basic training in Fort Benning, Georgia, they called Fort Benning the land that time forgot. It was even in like some of our Jody calls, like our songs that we would sing. Look at this outfit. Look at this outfit. I'm leaving it just like this. Okay, guys. We're going to enter the dungeon and sashay. All right. So we'll play with this theme. We'll see if we can toughen it up a bit. I think darker is going to help on this. Let's go ahead and get the chainmail in though. New layer. Now you just need your Vorpal two-handed sword of zombie slaying. With this outfit on, you don't even need a sword. All right, so we're here. We got that base layer. Let's go ahead and change it to chainmail and see what that looks like. Chainmail torso. Boom. Let me know if the music's too loud. I'm turning it down on my end a little bit. Just needs a black fishnet shirt underneath. I can do that, Whitechapel. Belfaster said some black underneath it and a bit darker. It looks like a Quizzer looking to bust some ass. I'm hoping you're not. I hope there's only one meaning to that, Belfaster. The Esan said, my accent is interesting. Born and raised in Maine, then 20 years in the South. North Kakalaka, South Kakalaka in Florida. Back to New England. Wicked draw, y'all. Wicked. Dargis says, I'm impressed with what you guys can do with what appears to be a pretty rough and simple custom design tool for building these armor pieces. Wait until you see once the actual art gets coming in. Like, I know we've got some of it that just needs to be imported that Goblin's been working on. We've also got, like, he did for our cape, we just got cloth capes, and did like another, I don't know, 6 cape designs that we can put in pretty easily. It'd be really nice to be able to get the capes in here and tint them and stuff and see them. So maybe Ollie can help me with that. Darga said, proof that dev tools don't need to be pretty. Our team tries to gold plate the UX out of internal stuff sometimes. It's probably because you've hired UX people. You've toyed with the cloth gravity stuff yet? We haven't tweaked the values on it. We were talking about that last night a little bit. So it needs to be tweaked a bit. So I think we're just running default. When you get more pieces made, you need Ollie to give you a randomize all button, let you guys just go through and snatch the good outcomes. You know what? That may not be as crazy as it sounds. So let me go ahead and let me play with this look a bit and get this done so that we can move on to some other stuff. So we got this going on. Let's zoom in a little bit and see how much that's the skin showing through here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do like the last one. We're going to get that new layer. We're going to go all the way down here. We're going to eat it up to the top here. North Kakalaka and Compton. Check it out. All right. Couple frills on inner sleeves. And you got Prince. He can play in basketball and serve you pancakes. I don't know that matters too much, but what does matter is that we get some color going on it here. Darken it up a fair bit. There we go. That's not too shabby. And then the breastplates, you know what? Rather than mess with the breastplate too much, because I just like the idea of the breastplate kind of being a little brighter and crazy to match this here beetle. Though I guess, I mean, we could go a little bit more blue with, we'll play with it in a second. What we're going to do is we're going to pop down to legs and pants, or legs and feet, and see if we can make them feel a little less. Yeah, we'll just make them a little bit darker. Darker is more serious. Have you guys already made basic armor stuff, lobby cloth, leather, chain sets yet? So this was from the original. So some of these values that I'm playing, or these, like these leather pants, were from that. If you look in town, when we pop in town, like, so picture this crazy guy, or I'll just dress up in the armor, then we'll run around. If you look in town, like, the newbie sets are made with these, with the same texture. Basically, it's just it's a simple sort of like texture that's I don't know, is it all sort of grayscale? Anyways, it's tweakable in a way where, and I'll show you some other stuff real quick. Let me bring this up. So let me go to find threads. Scroll down to where I was actually doing this and see if I can show you. So I've done a few of these, and I just got to dig them up now. That's not where it was. Itemization. It was in itemization. I don't want to show you this screen. All right, so we have this. This. I'm not going to show you all. This one's pretty cool. You know what? That's what this stream's for. You get spoiled. You get to see some spoilers. So like that breastplate versus this breastplate. We've got some. I went through and made a number of... It's honestly, I'd be showing you a lot more, but it's just so damn slow to get them over here without kind of showing you specifically my screen over here. And so like the difference between a rusty chainmail set versus a tarnished chainmail set. If you go through and basically go through the process of improving it. So this is all basically being done with the very limited number of pieces that we have, but they're working on new pieces right now. Yep, so it's the undies look a little BDSM, but you never know what players will like to dress. Yeah, so again, keep like the undies as that was a super quick placeholder thing that Goblin put in. And even I would say even these textures and stuff are probably at about like 80%. So there's still a lot more that's going to be done. But what I was doing right now is just the reason why I'm doing this and sort of investing the time in making all of these different sets is I wonder how many super quick play story things eventually ship to live. Darius, yeah, I mean, we'll see. That has a tendency to happen, right? But anyway, I wanted to just get more armor sets in general, even if it's like variations on cloth or different leather variations and stuff, because there's something super satisfying about finding an item and then putting it on if you can wear it and kind of see like, you know, just see if it looks different. The fashion quest from like even the first level is important. So, is this dark enough to feel a little bit less like a crazy pastel, really pastel outfit now? I feel like just, you know, pumping those values is probably good enough for now. So what we'll do is I'm going to grab this, I'm going to put it in a database, and then we can move on. So, torso, 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 torso. Alright, so that's all torso. Let me pop back into the database. Oh my gosh, the definition is too long. Alright. That's something where you either need to fix or discuss or whatever. This is the first time I've been able to blow out that field. What's the limit on that field? Let me see. 128 characters in that field. You can fix it, but it's gonna be a bit. So you know what I'm gonna do? What am I gonna do? Which of these layers am I gonna nuke? Alright, so I've got this copied, so I can always put it back when I need it. Let's see what this looks like updated. I don't like that. So let me go ahead and put it back in. What I may do then is I'll nuke the chainmail for now. And then that's easy enough to throw back in later. Sean changed the length. I'm reading this. It just takes me a second, dude. I've only got 2 monitors. I don't have the full, like, 90s hacker setup that you've got. He's elected the lead, not to read. Nice. I'm getting that on t-shirt. How do I change the length, Ollie? So, go click the length definition, change it to 256 and press save. Where is length definition? I'm looking. So, do you know the data tab? I do, it's right here. Then we got table, and then we go down to texture, and then we go to here. Then we change this to 256. Why do we stop at 256? If I want to be a true artiste, I may need like 20 layers to be able to make one thing. Wicked Blue Ninja, thank you for the follow. Okay, and then hit save. All right, we fixed it. Welcome to Debugging Live. Welcome everybody to Debugging Live with Master Craftsman. Super Ali. Super Ali, welcome. You want to constrain? I want to constrain you crazy because it makes us think. Ali likes to put us in the box so we can think harder. Make sure you save and commit if need be. This is live. We're doing it live, Nicodemus. We're working in a live database. We're doing it live. Yeah, otherwise the game will never be out. That's true. We need some constraints. Alright, so what we're going to do now is go back up here to the top. Now that we've played with the torso, let's go ahead and we're going to put these boots in, and then we're going to do the pants. And then we're going to be out of here. We're going to be done. We're going to be, as I used to say when I was a child, Audi 5000G. All right, next up, the legs. That database needs a CR with 3 tiers of approval on it. Yeah, once we hit the big time, we'll be sure to shoot for that level of efficiency. All right, so Turnip Jen, thank you for 27 months of dedicated awesomeness. I hope you are well. All right, so that was us playing around in here. We can now go into the game itself, and we can even make some of this armor and put it on if we want. I've never in 27 months considered the fact that Turnip Gin's name means gin made out of turnips. I've never thought about it. And I'm somebody that enjoys gin. I've never once considered that. Let me pull. I need to pull. You're a thought provocateur. Huh. For whatever reason, that made me picture you in like a little French burglar outfit. Okay, so Ali is done flying his blimp. Ali, are you about to take me in the weeds of into the weeds of Unity to fix that? Okay, assets, text, art, texture, blitz, change shirt. All right, so let's do this as soon as this gets done. Being goofy. I mean updating. Coincidentally, you're wearing a French burglar outfit as we speak. Viva la resistance! The best two gins I've ever had were infused with turnip and parsnip separately. No shit. I am going to look that up right now. Turnip infused gin. Can I just make that by like putting a turnip in? Oh, jeez. Turnip flavored gin. It's a whole thing. 11 of the best infused gin. Okay, I was about to say 11 of the best turnip flavored gins. I was like, all right, well, it's on my list now. It's in a tab. You know how I am once I open a tab. Piger Henricus. Piger Henricus? Okay. It's not a good sign when price and cost both come up as the autofill. Oh, it's not. That's not too bad. It's Canadian. Are you Canadian? Do Turnip recommended the brand, and do you drink it straight or as a cocktail? Yeah, once the tab's open, it's never going away. Got your high water pants and snake boots ready. Let's get into the week. Yeah, so let's do that. Ollie's a big fan of snake boots as well. So he said assets. Art, texture, blitz, chain shirt. All right, so assets. We'll go up. Art, texture, blitz, chain shirt. The chainmail torso. Here. Okay, you're from the States. Okay, cool. Hey, John. John, are you Canadian? Click. No clip, uncheck it. Alright. Is that in the previous view? I don't see no clip here. Previous view, okay. Oh, yeah, because I went to textures like a big dummy. Like a big dumb. I'm back at torso. No clip. It's unchecked now. That's it? Really? So when I go back into the tool, that'll give me multiple layers? Does it automatically name them and stuff as well? Because I'm wondering how that is even technically possible. How would it know to do that? Let's check this assumption. Use the torso for sleeves or bracer. I see what you're saying. Okay, but let me actually do this so it's not a theoretical. Let me go back into the dressing room. Hit play here. Whoa, I just got a shooting pain behind my eye. That's probably a good sign. Hello, doll. Have you facing the light. That'll make life a little bit better. Always trust but verify code. That's like the... Is that the... I forget, was it Reagan or Gorbachev? I think it is attributed to Reagan, right? The Reagan school of... Okay, so how do I just do... here, right? No. So right lower arm? But that's for attachment. Or is that where the layer is going to be? Because I've got a thing up here that says chest. That's the option. Chest. I've got a drop down of 1. It's like chest. What would you like to work on? Chest or just chest? So if I do new layer, chainmail. Oh, I'll do like cloth torso. Well, but cloth torso doesn't cover the whole. Doesn't go all the way down like the other ones did. So let's do. That's not useful right there. What I just did. What about leather armor? There's a leather torso. Leather torso is the name of my band from the 90s. Okay, chain torso. Oh, chain. You're right. I did chain torso. So why am I screwing with the other ones? Let's just go to chain torso then. Stop screwing around. So it's cool because now it's only showing there, but how do I get to see something that's not chest? Oh, what? Ollie's like, that's not how I thought that was going to work. I thought there used to be more options than just chest. But over time, Unity more and more is like, I'm just interested in chest. Only chest. It was actually chest day today. I snuck off, walked the dog, did a quick chest day in our little gym room that we have. And then ate a quick lunch, a little snacky lunch, made some coffee and hopped in here with you crazy kids. Are we actually deving in this live? What? We are actually deving. Are arms set to visible? Chest. Nicodemus. Chest. We're deving it live. God damn. We're deving it live. Oh, we gotta make that t-shirt, Ollie. Is that shirt out there? We're deving it live? Let's look. We gotta put that on our merch store. Niche World's Cult. We're deving it live. We're... Why do you keep switching to Swedish keyboard? Deving it live. I think we got this. And it'll be me as Bill O'Reilly. Deving it live. All right, awesome. So Ollie's gonna eat something, and then he's gonna fix this. And once he fixes it, I got a lot of work to get done. Any update on the merch store? Nicodemus, the honest answer on the merch store is, it exists. It needs to be updated, revamped a little bit since the first iteration that we used. It's just not available because we still don't feel comfortable taking your money yet. That's the main thing. If we felt comfortable taking your money at this stage in the process, yeah, I mean we've got a merch store. It's on the website. It's password protected. You can't get in. And if you did get in, we would know it was you. We'd know where you live because you'd have to enter your address in order to buy anything. And Dargus, don't spill the beans. And then we would delete your order and we'd send you a note. We'd send you a note nailed to a potato saying, stop hacking our shit. Also, how did you hack our shit? Please let us know. P.S. Thanks. The team has been buying cool stuff all this time. That's how you can see them wearing it on streams. Yes. I got a box of cool shit over here. I got this thing. Bought this off the merch store. Some goblin art. Got a hat. I got a beanie that I wear, not right now, but I do wear it. Don't try to say I don't. I got stickers that I haven't stuck to anything. I didn't want to waste them, I guess. Weird. Yeah, that's our business model. We actually have that in like a 103 slide PowerPoint, Dargith. So if we're talking to investors, if you're an investor out there and you want to get with us, don't worry. We actually don't have a PowerPoint. I'm lying, but I would make a PowerPoint real quick with that on it. It would say start with threat, request information, 3, question mark, or profit. Any capsule love in the store? Not the plushies. The plushies would actually cost us money to get made. So like plushies, cloth maps, all that kind of stuff will have to be like a later run when we actually have some cash from the first stuff that you guys buy to be able to then invest in purchasing, having those things produced, and then feeling like the beer's diamond model just created as much demand as possible by artificially lowering supply. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not hard for us to lower supply. Capsule Tic Tacs, I think we can probably get those made. There's a lot of candy shops that'll let you get like custom, you know, it's for birthdays or whatever, bridal showers. Oh man, there's actually some other work that I need to do today or wanted to do today. So, yeah, we'll do it live. We'll go in here, we'll run around for 1 second, but then I need to get back in the database. Bore you guys looking at the database. We gotta watch. Yeah, I'd be worried that we'd have to get a reputable plushie maker if you're gonna let your kids chew on it. I got a really cool looking llama at the fair on Sunday. Went to the fair, and on the way out, I saw they had longbows. And so I just got up there and I fired the first shot, and it was up and to the right. And the guy looked at me because I just plinked it out pretty confidently. And he was like, "Do you want one with a higher draw weight?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so he gave me that, and then I put the next 5 in the bullseye. And so, bam, I got a giant llama for my dog to chew on straight out of the gate. And then I got overconfident. I plopped down another $5. I was like, let's do this again, because now that I got this bow, I'm going to get every single one of them. Because I'm like that sometimes. I'm like, 5 out of 6? That's not good enough. Let's do 6 out of 6 in the bullseye, son. And I proceeded to like just fire arrows all over the place. I don't know what happened. It was pretty piss poor. I looked at the guy and shrugged and was like, I think he gave me some really bullshit arrows in the second one. Yeah, so we got our cape in. I got a backpack on top of it. Don't worry about that. This is the guy that I've been playing legitimately. Oh man, we gotta get the text slider in sooner rather than later. The smaller text. Nick updated text yesterday, and I'm too old and blind to. So this is before we've even modded the cape physics. So this is basically straight out of the box. Zukin's talking about basically coming in, giving it a little bit more weight, so it feels a little less just like a thing that's artificial. So a little bit more weight on it, and checking the collision so that we can kill some of this penetration. Yeah, for a first pass, it looks pretty damn good. I will agree with you on that. And then then there's some really nice little cape designs that Goblin was cranking out, like tattered and shorter and all sorts of stuff. So no complaints so far. Arkenstaff's looking at the animations, going to be making some tweaks there as well. Let me just do something real quick. I may log this guy out because again, I'm trying to play him as normally as possible, and that includes like the rate at which I'm consuming food and stuff like that. Food consumption's been a lot slower than it used to be. I'm kind of tempted to grind out to level 4, but I'll do that on my own. Or we'll do that later. Oh, I was checking something, so I need to destroy these. I had my first experience with being encumbered in our game. That was pretty tight. I like started walking. I was like, I know I'm not out of food. What's going on here? Like, why am I going so slow? Come to find out, it's because I just had too much shit. It's probably got something to do with the 369 coins I got in here as well. So let me run to the bank. Excuse me, I may have to turn off the mic in a second and actually legitimately clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. Are you actually there, Beetle? Well, that seems weird. That beetle is not real. How much do you want people to care about food? Do you want there to be some urgency, passing food around in groups, etc.? Or is there really enough equipped item providing small benefits? That's region. So this will be one of those areas where I think we'll probably have some back and forth on the team, and some healthy discussions. I would like for your inventory to really, really make a difference. Weight at the moment feels like, even though I just became encumbered for the first time, we need to do a balance pass on item weights, and then we need to look at your actual strength as it applies to your carrying capacity. I think the original idea of having these specific bag slots was meant to sort of make it so that you're not immediately straight out of the gate rocking like eight slot bags and can carry an infinite amount. Like, we want these constraints to actually impact gameplay is the short answer. Right now I don't feel like they do. Right, I can carry a shitload at the moment, and that is counter to the intent. So coin does provide encumbrance, and our coins do have weight, unless I'm mistaken. But let's take a look now. I got 369 copper, 54 silver, and my weight is 119. So let's convert our coins. I've converted our coins, and I'm still at 119. So coins do not have weight at the moment, and that will need to be fixed or added or whatever. Yep. And then when I was taking a look at just the cape on its own, I just throw this in the bank. Should be a scale somewhere for everyone to reference when they're making new items and they know what ranges are reasonable, new item weights. So yeah, that'll need to be a thing that we get used to internally. I like the D&D way of, or at least the old D&D way of making weights basically coin. So 1 unit of weight is 1 coin, if I'm not mistaken, or 1 unit of, like, 1 common unit of weight is 10 coin. Isn't that right? It's one of those. Okay, so if you want to see the cape uninterrupted, here, now that the music stopped back there, I just realized that you weren't hearing anything. Let me open Mixer, turn this back up. Let me see what this is looking like. EHG. Yeah. Checking in once a month is a great way to do it. Not that I don't want you guys to hang out with me and stuff, but it's a great way to do it because then you can see a bunch of changes at once, which makes it even more impressive than if you're just the frog that we're slowly boiling in here. CGX said, and then the coin equals XP was brilliant because it incentivized getting the coin without combat. Oh, interesting point. Honestly, I don't think I'd even considered that aspect. Can I sell these to the... Okay, you're gonna want that. Well, but in theory it's a quest item and shouldn't be droppable. Doesn't want that either. Alright, I'll check the flagging on those. I was curious because I was down there I'm not on the quest, but I knew there were some quest drops in the basement. And so I went into there. What's going on with you, little buddy? Let's run down there and see if the rest of them are broken. If so, I'll just repop the zone really quick. You can make your own scale, kind of like how the British use stone, and it sounds like some fairy tale unit of measurement to Westerners. I mean, I feel that way about coin. So using coin, it's referential and it's kind of cool and magical. So those of you that haven't been here in a while, let me summon a pet. There's my minion. Vlacadis, thank you for the follow. So, those of you that are new here, like if you're part of the new crew, this is Monsters and Memories. This is our website. And then I'll get my pet to attack. And then we'll life drain this bug. That's another one we can fire. Yeah, things are acting a little weird down here, so I may just draw strength. Gives me another 2 points of strength. It's not bad. And let's see. And then we'll hit him with Noxious Deluge. Just so you can see it. And... alright, so let's see what you guys were talking about up here. Making it, how many coins can I get with the least risk? How many coins can I carry? Made some fascinating play dynamic. Yeah, I honestly... I wonder if that was something that I actually considered when I was a kid and playing more, but funny because at the moment as you're saying it, it feels like a revelation, and I know it's not. Bones should be considered food. In my opinion, players could suck the marrow for nourishment, kind of like pixie sticks for necros. I mean, it's not as good as steak, but would keep you alive. I think that's a fair point with certain bones, but like I don't know that we're ever going to make like a human skeleton broth soup. I don't think that's going to. This little basement is growing on you over the months. Yeah, it's one of several places that I like to send people to, Keith, as we're doing like quests, like the basements and sewers and all that stuff. It'll be nice to be able to spread them around. The bat yard in the park. The necro area looks like it's going to have a lot of opportunity for content. How you doing, Keith, by the way? Really like that there's some minor XP spots that aren't just Noob Yard. So Dargeth, don't tell anybody this, but the entire city is going to be an XP spot. It just depends on whether or not you like your faction here or which faction within the city you like. So let's go ahead and time set 6 a.m. Let you new folks... Oh, it's daytime, so the door opened behind me. I wonder if I can make it up this tower before... You know what? I'll just use the elevator. I forgot that we've got the little placeholder elevator in here. Looking forward to Pattis building up slum areas. Yeah, it's the work that they're putting in. I'm about to show an overhead of it. It's pretty badass. So we'll watch the sun come up for a second for those of you that have never seen it before. And then I'm going to switch into the basically the scene view because I got some NPCs to place. It's on my list of stuff to do this stream. minion down there like, oh man, I never get to go on the elevator. He's kicking sand. So the goal for the field, Nicodemus, is for Night Harbor to be a bustling city at nights. It really comes alive at night. But there are definitely going to be those shady pockets all over the place, depending on your faction as well. There are going to be some areas where you may want to go. Once you've done some factioning and you're a little bit safer to go into that part of town. All right, so now that we're here, what I'm gonna do, actually, so that I don't have to deal with the sphere of influence impacting things, I'm gonna camp out real quick. While I'm camping, I'm gonna check for messages. Oh, cool. And I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna load up Night Harbor because we want to do some. How do I want to do it? Is it gonna be faster to do it this way? Yeah. I'll try it this way. No, you know what? I'm this is me just sort of working through the problem quickly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load in on another tune. That way I don't care about the fact that I'm consuming food and stuff. And then... Dargit, that's part of what I'm going to look at. So the question was, for the legit tune you're leveling, how high do you think you can reasonably level right now with the content that's in? It depends on where I run to, because I know we've got some random... I mean, I should be able to, if I'm remembering what we have in Shaded Dunes, because Shaded Dunes has been sitting there for quite a while without us playing in it. I should be able to get to like easily level 6 with a slow grind between Newbeyard and Wormsbane, depending on solo ability of Wormsbane or whether or not I'm grouping with somebody, we'll see. And then if I go to Shaded Dunes used to be our newbie yard, if you remember, and I could swear it basically will go from like newbie through 15 or 20 there, if I'm not mistaken. So, but I'd have to look. Over the next week, Amy, Nick, and I will be, or sorry, Luna, Nick, and I will be working together to sort of remap that and make sure that there's a nice progression from basically the newbie yard all the way through potentially whatever Fallen Watch winds up being. Yeah, there's ghouls, zombies out there, Ashira, some like humans as well. So we're gonna be dusting that off and making it pretty legit. Do you think all mobs will give at least some XP, or will they become green and give no XP once out leveled? I think gray was no XP, green was just a tiny amount of XP, I think, right? My thought is like green is fine. We don't necessarily need gray. Because gray was no XP, and did they stop dropping items when they were gray as well? I forget. Alright, here I am. I was testing something out. No, they didn't drop items? Or no, they did. Inspect. Well, inspect. Well, curious if it did that. The well is so filled with water that it's within reach. Smell water. That smells like a goblin's bottom. That sounds like Amy got in a database. Sorry, Luna. It'll take me a while. Once I get a name in my head. So, sounds like somebody's been in a database. That sounds delicious. Taste water. See if Ollie's had a chance to fix this yet. Alright, so once taste is fixed, then that'll be funny. Aggro off. Taste fire beetle. The fire beetle thanks you. BDC Retro said earlier to the earlier thing, it changed EQs to be no XP a long time ago. EQ didn't have TLC except for a few spots, but it was removed. All mobs dropped item. Okay. What if they drop broken items because they're too strong? Oh my god. The amount of shit that would be in the database to double up the items. Let me put in a request real quick. Nick, could we make the text a little bigger for now? Bigger until we get the ability to adjust the size manually. I'm old and have trouble seeing. Is it one of those things that smells awful but tastes good? Like some cheeses and durian fruit? Talking about Goblin's Bottom. It could be. It could be. We'll know once taste is fixed. Alright, so we're here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the database. And we're going to go into NPC spawn group. Filter that down to Night Harbor. And so we've got all these wonderful... We've got all these wonderful twos here. So basically... Everything that was a trainer, like if we come in here and look, I'll show you. Where's the closest one? So like basically all of these guys were trainers, animal taming, wagoneering, all this stuff. They were. I'm so fast. First aid. So they were all set up as trainers. And I just put a book on them and wasn't thinking about the fact that trainers are a different NPC type. And so it's kind of a pain in the ass to go back through and then like rename them in the database. So I kept basically, there's trainer 1 and trainer 2 now. And so I kept all of these guys as trainer 1 since they're already in here, they're implemented. Then I added a trainer 2 NPC, which is an actual trainer. So like in the case of first aid, if I go to first aid here, we've got we'll come here, we'll look at NPC, we'll look at first aid. The rest of these will be quicker, but I think he's got a okay. BWN. Alright, so we got that. Then I'll find that in our NPC spawn group. And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave here. We're going to go in a scene. It's helpful to be near the guy in scene, because then the sphere of influence isn't basically nuking all of them. You can actually see them. So that's me. I'm looking at me, looking at that fellow there. We're going to go into zone panel. That's this thing right here. And we're going to enable the spawners. Takes a minute to load the data. There's a few hundred at this point. I don't know. That may be a lie. There's well over 100. So anyways, this is the thing that's spawning that dude. If I go to zone spawn in a database, I look at Night Harbor. Kind of where are we at here? Night Harbor, we're riding around at. Alright, so the last one I did was like 168. Cool, we'll do 169. Daytime spawn group. This guy. Create it, click. Right here. We'll click on him. We see his info over here. Yep. We're going to take him and we're going to rotate him. Guess in theory we can do that so that easy enough to move. Kind of placeholder places, but you guys get the vibe already in terms of how we're iterating on stuff, I'm sure. So put him right here, and maybe just for fun, we'll click on this dude. We'll move him a little bit closer to his comrade. Do that, get his position. We'll save both of these guys. Position, save. Cool. 1, 2. Great. You get the gist. So then, with that saved, if I go back here, we just changed it. So repop is not just repop. We got repop and we got reload zone. Repop, I think, it repopulates like everything. Let me see what happens if I reload zone right now. There we go. All right, so now we got a trainer and we got supplies. Cool. So he's set up as a trainer. He's got the supplies. I just need to do that for all of the like tons of different trade skill placeholders that we put in. So that's what I can spend a certain amount of time today doing. We're looking at database. Database is updated. There we go. Don't need this up. One thing I am curious about though is he is a trainer. Cool. If I go to this NPC in the database, look at him. He is set up as a trainer. Great. If I go over to guild trainer, is he in here? Yeah, max skill 10. But in theory, I should be able to get... I'll have to ask Ollie how that's working, because I've never used a trainer. I think I've only ever assigned myself the skill. But you know what? It don't matter. So what I'm going to do then is I have the database open here. We'll come over. And we'll go to NPC spawn group. Again, Night Harbor. We'll just sort of start at the top and work our way down. So the easiest way that I could think to do this is probably just do like a quick go to wilderness. Because they're all named what they do. What? Oh. But if they're outside of my sphere of influence, then that's interesting. That's an interesting challenge there. Because I just figured that'd be quicker than going through each of the so what I'm doing on this side is I've got this here, and I guess in theory what I could do is just have zone spawn here, and when I get to this guy I look, copy, filter, so what will a skill like wilderness do? So we're at a stage where we've just got like a little bit of a brainstorm on some of these things, but anything that kind of tickled our fancy we put down and puts it poured in. But wilderness might deal with like a version of survival skills that are like wilderness survival, and setting up camps and other things like that. So a lot of this interesting just kind of one-off gameplay rather than shy away from the idea of putting it in and then seeing if we can make it into its own set of skills. So there may be, it may have an impact on availability of tracking or certain trapping types, perception skills that we've got, foraging, etc. And we've got a lot of weird ones in here, and we're just going to see if they pan out or not. But for us, it was almost like, rather than just put it in a document, we implemented them when one was being implemented. It seemed like it was just as easy to implement 10 for Ollie. And so then it becomes like a mental marker for us to sort of force us to think about it. That makes sense. Yeah, so Dargit said, I like that as a base skill, then anyone can use it, but classes like Rangers, Druids could have innate bonuses to the skill or have augmented roll loot tables for them. Yep. So it's something that's super... I mean, you know us, like we're just doing this in real time, so we don't mind necessarily putting out kind of some crazy half-baked ideas, and then we talk with you guys about it and see what happens. So I think the fastest way to do this really will be to hop out of the running game, go into Night Harbor, go into scene. I need to load up all of the sub scenes. Load sub scenes. That way, otherwise, like screwing around with having the sphere of influence, like clipping off NPCs, is going to make it painful for me. So we got... Oh, the only problem then is I got to turn back on the other music because that killed our music. One thing that I haven't played with is, do these things actually exist? Better way to do it that way. 98. That won't be the way to do it. Cool. All right, so it'll be a little clunky. We'll see how this winds up going. But if we've got this guy here, then what we're gonna do is for 170, gonna take him, do number 2, create it, click, put him right here, adjust him. City is filling out nicely. It is. Yeah, I meant to show you guys that haven't been here in a while. So we've got a new environment artist on the team. I've got to ask him what he actually goes by. Does he go by Simon? Does he go by Baloo? And so he's been working on Baloo. Yeah, so he also, in Discord, he's Angola. So he's been working on all of the stuff around the harbor. So as you guys, like, as you see this stuff start to fill in, you can get a feel for, like, just the potential density of content. And so one of the questions that's come up is, like, is this going to be a normal city? And more, my inclination is that once we get it done and really start to play around with some of what we want to do with regards to just like gameplay in the city and different factions and you know, factional conflict and making it more of a gameplay space, this city will probably wind up being a bit of a it's very possible that this city becomes kind of like a mega city that's very gameplay focused. And then we'll use what we learned from doing this one. Honestly, I'd rather, until we hit a point where there's just like a dead set ass like reason for us to be like, man, we've got to pull it in. I'd rather for us to continue to sort of be big and creative and crazy with this and see if we can get a city that really truly feels like a fun city of adventure, and then see what we learn from there and see if we want to do that with every other city, or if there's a range of city sizes, or what we wind up doing. So yeah, this is really, you know, when we talk about it, it's like, for me, I just picture the source books and expansions, or, you know, box sets that you could get from a pen and paper game. And it'd be great if it just felt like for the life of your character, you're able to continue to discover interesting stuff to do within the city, and it stays relevant. And there are, like, depending on, again, your faction, you know, plenty of opportunities for you to come in here and play in here. Is there going to be a rough area of the city that can serve as a place to group and camp? Syndicroft, depending on who you are, there will be those places throughout the city. Yeah, just as kind of a reminder, like over here, just as kind of a goof, I put in like some ruffians that are KOS. Right, so these guys will attack you if you're wandering around. So the idea is kind of like the analogy I was using for EQ folks is like, imagine if the factional conflict between Kale, Thurgoden, and Skyshrine were taking place within one large city, with some secret factions and other stuff kind of buried in the story as well. Dark said, 1, great concept, 2, great reference. Cool. Thank you. Is the current design for Night Harbor following the outline Ham came up with several months ago? Yeah, so the current outline is following the top level sort of mapping and outline, but we're compressing some of the stuff because like Ham's, Ham's insane creativity and stuff because he comes from like pen and paper background. He's got it where not only do we have a concept for all of these districts, there are plenty of underground districts below the districts and stuff like that. So we're pulling in the focus is the above ground stuff. We're doing some modification to some of the underground stuff. We're maintaining some of the catacombs and dungeons and stuff like that. So yeah, like, I mean, I think by the time we get just the city done, the way we've been talking about it, if we can really nail the content that belongs in this city, based on what we described before, this city, Shaded Dunes, which will eventually be revamped a bit, but for now, let's just use this as placeholder. Fallen Pass, and then Fallen Watch. There should be a serious, you don't need to leave the area amount of content to do for proof of concept. So, Ham and Luna, great combo. Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. Random thought on the harbor. It would be cool if there were smaller boats you can pilot to take out deeper for either deep sea fishing or hunting sea monsters, or going to the island that will be off the coast. Got the stream muted right now, but interested in the comment. What does PNP mean? Oh, okay. You'll have to say it in chat. Is this going to be a starter city for all or one race? If it's going to be one race, then you got a lot to do with other races. For proof of concept, it's absolutely going to be for all of the races that we include. So we'll move this guy over here. And from position, save 171. And let's see. Well, let me just move this over here so that I can actually find it a little bit easier. Wagoneering. We know where Wagoneering is. So we'll come over here to Wagoneering. Oh, he's off the ground a bit. I wonder if he realizes that. He doesn't. So let's fix him while we're here. But yeah, so to your earlier comment, who said it? BDC Retro? Yeah, it's been nice getting people that are, pen and paper focused or background. Will it spawn the NPC in the air? When I walked by here earlier, the NPC was on the ground, so I'm not worried about it. I just, while I'm in here, I might as well clean it up, right? Cool, so this guy, 171. Wagoneering. And then Wagoneering 02. We'll give him a buddy as well. Create at click. Here. No, BDC Retro, I didn't miss the question, but I may not have been articulating clearly. So the question was, is it going to be a starter city for all or one race? If it's just one race, and we've got a lot of cities to make, and they're going to be big. So for proof of concept, which is all that we can really commit to at the moment, it'll be a starting city for all of the races that we include in proof of concept. So. All right, I'm gonna continue just doing these in this particular order. $95. What I find very interesting are specialized tools you use in development. Do you make them in-house? Yeah, so we've been making our own stuff since the beginning. Keith here in chat, Keith G, has been working on some real fun, essentially like a really nice interface to the tooling that we have. And so that's really cool. Not ready to show it off yet because I haven't been using it, and so I'd hate to do a poor job of like sort of talking about it or showing anything. But I think when it comes time, then we can walk through it, and that may even be a thing where Keith may want to like hop in voice or something. So Gilmer said it's drag and drop, quite efficient. So it's a lot more efficient than other tools I've used. It's pretty slow when you see me using it on stream because I'm just like, I'm splitting my focus between looking at you guys over here, looking at the database, looking at what I'm doing here, trying not to like get all quiet and shit, like, and just focus on, you know, the implementation. I would feel bad if you guys were just sitting here listening to RuneScape music while I work for 3 hours. The way that I usually work, and it's a hell of a lot faster, is I'll put on some music. I don't know if you look at my Discord profile, I think it shows my Spotify, so it'll be pretty random, but I don't know. I'll put on some music, put earbuds in, and then just grind away at like plopping stuff in, and it goes pretty quick. So, and that's always kind of been the process, right? Like, but when I'm here with y'all, it's really just kind of like plucking away at it while also, you know, hanging out. I figure developing while streaming is like me trying to do anything productive with the toddler and preschooler around. Only amped up because you're worse than toddlers and preschoolers in many cases. That's not true. You guys are so well behaved. You're so well behaved that you saw with that weird bot thing that came in earlier. Like, you guys are so well behaved that the second somebody's not quite right, you know what I mean? He had a weird look about him. When someone's not quite right, then we spot it pretty quickly. Because you guys are wonderful. I'm not just saying that. I'm not just blowing smoke up your wazooies. But I'm streaming, right? So I feel a degree of obligation to, or the degree of what the F am I even saying? I'm obligated to, you know, be at least a tiny bit engaging. So I gotta like pay attention. Did the wrong one there. Let me do the right one then. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, dog? Alright, so... Oh, wait. No, that was correct. So we'll just do this here. Fix that there. Save that. And then the next one we'll put in here. Then we'll look in this other. We'll have to see if that's even in game. New Twitch category, just not talking. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are those channels that are just like some person sleeping. Which seems like that would be that'd be fun to watch. Depending on, you know, what you're into. We'll come over here. John says, I remember when the internet was relatively new and some guy rigged up his house with webcams, live streamed his life. People said it was creepy, weird, and who would watch this? Now look where we are. It's exactly. Canning trainer. So, beginning trainer. We'll move this guy here. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Parents told you not to talk with strange people on the internet. Yet here I am with you weirdos. It's a fair point. What did parents know? All right, from position, save, and we're good. $93. All right, grab him. 174. Grab that. Grab this. Make it a 2. Create a click. Plop it over here. Move them around a little bit. Position, save, cool. Hear that? $175. Go here. See what's next. $92. Why are you in a wall? I wonder if I like accidentally moved some art or something. Let me check GitHub and see if it thinks I screwed with the zone. No. Okay. So he's just legitimately in a wall. From position, save. Alright, 92. You're up, buddy. These guys look a little... We'll need to address that at some point. And now that there's 2 of them, let's go ahead and move him. Give him a little position in a tent here. Or, you know what, we'll just have them hanging out near the campfire. Screw it. Position, save. Create a click, put it here. Just two dudes enjoying a campfire together. Position, save. This is old RuneScape music. So whenever I just need like a default bit of music that's not ours, I'll hop onto that. But you know what we could do though? There ain't no harm in going over to our channel. Pause on that. Go to playlist. I don't know that we've got the full 30-minute sort of like looping ambient thing. That's why I like working in game. So let's just start with our music. That's Robert's music. So the new ambient loop that just like plays in the background once the zone song's done is so good. So I love just working in game. The problem is if I need to zoom around the zone to find all this stuff like I am now, the way that we do our sphere of influence, which probably need the ability to maybe like turn that off for GMs, makes it so that I'm not actually loading those NPCs outside of my sphere. Spinning. Excuse me. So over the weekend I haven't finished it yet, but I've started watching a interview with Rick Rubin, the music producer. Rick Rubin, who is on the Joe Rogan podcast. And he's got, I'm a big fan of Rick Rubin. Apparently he's got a book that's just come out or is coming out that I'm excited to check out. It's about creativity and the creative process. So I got a lot of respect for that dude's just sensibilities. But he says some really great stuff about like creativity and the creative process. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, maybe go 30 minutes into it. I think it's right at the 30-minute mark. I'll lower this just a little bit on the music side. Let me know if that's too low. But he just talks about how much of, for him, how much of it is like, he's even in sort of trying to think about distilling like his process. It's almost impossible because almost everything with him is just intuition and taste. And he gets into the idea that basically if you're making something, if you're a creative person, then if you're trying to be creative just to, I don't know, make a buck or whatever, you know, you can do it, but it just doesn't, it's not the same, it's not sustainable, and you're not really gonna like make a big difference, right? Like your art isn't gonna be like, it's very, I don't know, just kind of expected, derivative, whatever. So his thought is basically you got to make shit that you like, that you feel personally passionate about, and then see if other people like it as well. And I know that's oversimplification, but I really believe in that. Especially, I've worked at companies now where it's so much time is spent trying to guess as to what the customers want, as opposed to like finding something that you know, does fit a need, fill a need, or provides value to the customers, but is really something that the team's about, like passionate about first and foremost. You know, and so like just focus grouping your way to something that you hope other people are passionate about because you're not passionate about, to me is just like, it's not fun. It's a bullshit way of doing it. I don't know. Did I ever listen to Henry Rollins' story about getting robbed at his house and his friend roommate getting shot? Yeah, his friend Joe, I believe. Rick Rubin has a big tie-in to the story. I didn't know there was a tie-in to the story because I heard that story before I was really aware of Rick Rubin. I was listening to Rick Rubin's music, right? Like ever since my mom bought me my first Run DMC cassette in like '85. I've been a big fan of like hip hop, but I mean I love pretty much everything. But I didn't realize I was listening to stuff that he was influencing back then. Like the dudes worked with the Adidas with no laces. I don't think I ever rocked the Adidas as much as I love Run DMC. Not like that. There's like, what are they called? The like clamshell or whatever the cap ones. I just don't like the look. It's not for me. But like he's worked with Slayer and System of a Down and Red Hot Chili Peppers and, you know, the Beasties and Jay-Z and just like everybody. Rick Rubin was working with them on a deal or record, and he kept coming to their house in his pimp-ass purple Rolls Royce or whatever. Henry Rollins said they were not living in a nice place, like dangerously nice place. Said it likely put a huge target on their house. Oh, weird. Damn, that's crazy. Did I rock a Kangol? That was that. Well, I mean, I think LL Cool J and everybody rocked a Kangol back in the day. All right, so as we're just sort of incrementally creeping along, let's look for the next one. People think it was a drug house or something. The Rolls Royce randomly showing up periodically. Oh, that's crazy, man. Imagine if that was what sort of created that situation. Yeah, so when I was a little punk rock kid that got into the army, and I got recruited to go work in DC. I was so amped to like go to DC where there's just like so much punk rock history. And so I immediately went down, and like Rollins is from that area, Virginia and stuff. And I was a huge Rollins fan. And so I was down like drinking coffee and reading the Henry Rollins books in DC. I thought, man, I was the coolest. I was like, little did I know. Hey, Sakai, what am I doing? Just doing some population update here. Slowly, but surely. And it's a pretty slow process on this one because I'm like, basically I'm going through and pairing up some NPCs a lot. So matching like trainers with some merchants that basically, and rather than, I guess, just do it spatially and dig through the database, which would probably be faster. Why am I doing it this way? Like just kind of move from here to there and find each of them. You know what? I think I'm just going to do that. And then if I miss some, I miss some. We'll figure it out. Let's just do that. That'll be faster from now on. Because if I'm here, then I'm looking at this guy, right? Like, why am I not just go ahead and go to this guy next, the next trainer? Okay, we'll just do it this way. It'll be faster. Nicodemus said, life is too short to work at a job you're not passionate about. I've helped employees leave my company because the team suffers if they're not all in. I did that when I was in Hamburg. It's big points. Because there were people there that had been on the team for, 6 years and they didn't get any promotion. Just all sorts of weird shit was going on before I got on the team. And so they were just burned out and there was no recovering it. So I was just like, let me introduce you to LinkedIn. You Germans in your Zing. Germans have a website like LinkedIn that's called Zing, but the only people that use it are Germans. So I was like, let me get you on LinkedIn. Let me help you with your CV. By helping leave, I mean, don't mean fire. Helping them find out. Yep. No, absolutely. Giving them advice on how to interview, everything. In the 2 years that I was there, we had like a team of 30, I don't know, it was like between 30 or 35, I don't remember. And we turned over 15 of them in my tenure. Couple were just kind of asked to leave, and many others were either found a new team in the company, and then most I just helped find other jobs. And the CEO was like, we're basically limiting your head count. It wasn't even like a budget thing, and the thing was budget, in my opinion. Operating expenses just weren't enough for that team if we were going to start getting them the pay raises and stuff that they needed, despite us being the number 2 revenue generator in the company. And so I was like, well, I mean, I've got a lot of folks here that just they're not passionate. They're not happy to be here. He's like, and he's I think French Tunisian kid, CEO of that company. No offense if you're watching and you're hearing me call you a kid, but he's like 30 years old and this was his second job ever. His dad was like a Tunisian ambassador or something. So anyway, he was just like, when I talked to him about the team, he was like, well, if they're not passionate, you'll just get rid of them. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna be working on that. And so, when 2 years later, like when it's time to sort of discuss whether or not I'm going to renew my contract and whether or not they're going to renew my contract, he's like, you've had a lot of turnover on your team. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely have. Very intentionally so. So one of the guys, because we got a couple people that were from there was a game they were working on. They were working on a MOBA that had like WASD controls, and it felt kind of old school in like a bullet hell kind of interesting way. Anyways, that game got canceled just sort of suddenly, which is a bummer because everybody on that team was super passionate about the game they were making. It was really crazy how amped they were on that game. And so got a couple of those guys and immediately they're like, I don't know about this, man. Like the only thing our company seems to be doing right now is like working to get bought, which eventually they were bought by some random Chinese company. And so it's just like, yeah, man, I'll help you get a job. One of them, a person I'm describing right now, has worked at Twitch for like the last 5 years. And really loves it. I mean, he was doing all the streaming and stuff when he got on the team. Super great, young, talented person. So I feel it's absolutely our responsibility to, when we've got talented people like that in the industry, is to make sure that they end up somewhere good for them. Even if it's, they're leaving it. It always sucks when you have somebody on a team that just like kicks ass. You don't want to lose that person. But if that person is better off in another company or whatever, then I'd rather lose that person by being very helpful and getting them to a really cool place. I'd rather have that happen and then potentially work with them again in the industry in the future and have them know that I had their best interests in mind when I was working with them than to like bullshit around and keep them in a company that they don't like. Vocal frog. I can kind of picture that. All right. Bruin. Yeah, we got one for you as well. Oh wow. Benrier Willow. Thank you for the follow. It's a fun name. Forgot to ask a personal question the other day. You guys going to be okay with fuel heating situation in Germany? Backup plan, move back to the States for winter, Nicodemus asked. So we are, yeah, we're pretty fine. If I had to guess, we're more fine than most people because I'm a bit of a tinfoil hat wearer. So one of the first things I said to my wife in February, yeah, cue Prepper Sean. I won't go through the full spiel, but like one of the first things I said to Jasmine in February was like, hey, we need to order more firewood. So we're good. In a worst case scenario, we've discussed, but we still need to like lock down a like 48-hour response plan for like if there's a really weird situation. Essentially, I want to be able to be on a plane with her and the dog in under 48 hours. So that's like crazy scenario. In a I guess a worst case scenario where that's not a possibility. You know, so say if the current like dirty bomb discussion that's going on in Ukraine, or if Zaporozhia. Anyways, if the nuclear power plant goes pear-shaped, then whereas I guess as prepped as we can. Well, you can always be more prepped, but we're in an okay state of like figuring out what's next kind of scenario. So yeah, John, I agree. Without going too much into social or political stuff, because that's taboo here, I'll just say I agree. You can always feel free to hit me up directly if you ever want to break the chat rules on something. If you want to know what I'm really thinking. DM for truth. Yeah. But yeah. So thanks for asking. We're pretty good, I think. And as time goes by, we'll continue to get better. But we're snowboarders. We've got layers. We've got firewood. We've got plenty of food. Yeah, don't be shy, John. Folks hit me up all the time. We don't have mountain bikes. I've got a pretty badass cargo bike. And the things that go with it. Yeah, I honestly, I really do. I'm a big fan of that bike. It's one of those things that, you know, sometimes you buy something and it's kind of like, oh, that wasn't the best investment. That bike has proven to be pretty damn good because we've got in Germany on the outskirts of the town or different spots if it's a bigger city, maybe inside, but usually on like the outskirts of town, they've got community garden plots. But you essentially you rent whatever size plot, and they'll have houses on them and stuff, like these tiny little houses. So like a 24 square meter house. So our garden plot that we got this year is like 430 square meters. It's got a 24 square meter house and a shed and stuff on it. But it's about 2 kilometers from here. And so I was walking back and forth each day to do stuff, like take the dog up with me, walk, work on the garden, come back, and then getting the bike has made it really just fantastic. Plus, I mean, I've basically been to German Home Depot on it, and I've bought tons of shit. Bought a refrigerator for the garden house. You know, not like dorm room size, but also not full size. And threw that on a cargo bike. And it was funny because people in town were like looking at me. They seemed fairly impressed that the bike could pull that off. And for sure it did. I was really happy with it. You've got a senior dev on your team whose dream is to live 100% off the grid, no government involved, his homemade power station. For like one house is pretty cool. Don't have those skills, but I appreciate the effort. That's a good person just to have in your network. If you've, is it somebody that works remote, or do you guys actually live near each other or something? Or I mean, sorry, do you guys work together, but you're like within driving range? I thought I hit somebody down here. Did I? Yeah, okay. He works hybrid, but I can call him if need be to get stuff done. He owes me. How do you work off grid with internet? I would assume satellite. I've got a couple of off griddy friends. I've got a friend at Blizzard that's kind of not fully off the grid, but definitely was able to move and be more remote. In a different state and everything, and I think he's using Skylink or something. And I could see how you could say, well, if they're on the internet, are they really truly off the grid? That's a fair point. EHG says, friend of mine at Blizz got one of the permanent work from home status and lives out in the countryside in New York State. Oh man, that's gotta be gorgeous. What do we got here? Who is your? Unless you're living without electricity or gas, you're truly off the grid. I don't agree with that. Come on now. Fermenting. I don't know that that's true. Because you can generate your own. As long as you're basically as long as you're self-sufficient, right? You know what? I may just move this guy completely. I don't know if any of these spaces really make sense for him at the moment. EHG said, I'm in Toronto on another indie project. Probably time to move out to the country. If you can. What area is this? So it's the, it's like the Necropolis, Necromancer, Shadow Knight area. It is the, if you look here, so that's their building there, and then it goes up into these areas. Pattis has started to sort of fill out these crypts and stuff, so another sort of gameplay space that we can utilize. Then, you know, there's some area it passes through. Oh, I hadn't even seen the latest on this. Pretty badass. I'm gonna move that guy over here. Yeah, I mean, this city's a beast. I've got a ton of appreciation for Pattis' stamina and just continuing to just like crank it out on this guy. But it's gonna be fun. We're gonna pull it together. One of the things that we've looked at in the past is, was it DDO that is essentially the game is like one city and then it's expanded from there? That feels very D&D of them, if that's true. I forget. I thought I had a map that... I forget everything while streaming. Either that or I'm just really honestly just getting old. Too much good living. My brain is mush. Fortunately, we've got some really wonderful big brain people on the team. Sekhmet, Camilla, Pukmar, GMs, Bell Merchants, Reagent, GM, Prazik. I'm gonna skip over creepy dungeon music, even though it's very sort of October-y. Man, having 2 weeks of vacation at the beginning of the month has really made this month kind of like blaze by. Probably be moving these guys back in around a little bit, sort of and breaking with the original design, but for now we'll just go ahead and duplicate, make sure that they've got merchants with them. Well, not this guy. Farming is always going to be over here, I think. And so what are you guys doing today? You guys are kind of quiet. Are you, is everybody working? Are you being productive? Are you being quiet quitters? The instance dungeons were cool the first time you did it, but then people would speedrun them. All the triggered events dialogue would get ruined. Yeah. It's a challenge with sort of the very kind of more sort of scripted, complex stuff. Create it, click. Yeah, I mean, this kind of work is, for me, it's always been just kind of fun to do while listening to music and chilling out. It's very clicky, but it's also creative. So, Gilmere said, EQ trade skills. So I'm semi-comatose. I love the clickiness of it. EHG said, trying to figure out if the design meeting is necessary today. Oh, voice meeting? Zebacraft attempting to be productive. Well, I'm probably not helping you on that front. I apologize. If you really wanted to be productive, you probably should log out. Focus. Not trying to get rid of you. Just being real with you. Not Costanza is working and listening. What are you working on? Chinny D, super productive day. Just listening to the stream. Nice. Sockeye is drinking coffee. John said, I'm glad they added recipes and auto-combine so you can trade skills up. Yeah, that actually is a quality of life change that I really appreciated on the TLPs. Priest of Vespa. Nikima says, taught me as a dev, no dialogue with a group of players. Dialogue needs to be viewed by the player interested in dialogue. Yeah. You know, especially if it's like slowing your flow. Zeba says, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I enjoy your stream because it's like a radio. Same time, something is sometimes is too interesting, so I forget to work. But you and other streamers actually help with productivity. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I say that, and then like if I'm working on something and have like Zukin up or Pattis up or yeah, I'm just listening and enjoying it, and it makes me productive as well. Because I can always, but I'm usually watching VOD because of the time zone difference, so I can always like pause. But in theory, you can pause me. You can come back and watch the VOD later. You can mute me. Working on a proposal for a new game and copying notes over from Migs. Jacob Trace says, oh, cool. Sounds fun. From position, save. These guys are way out here. John says, every time I watch an Eminem stream, I feel like, or do, and jump on my EQ server. Be sure to let them know. Use discount code A Loving Robot. EG7 can... give me a little chrono bonus. Ever thought that one day this stream could be live, but a lot of the chat could be happening in game while everyone watches, just sitting there crafting and whatnot? What do you mean? Like, oh, the chat would be in game, like in the in-game interface. We talked a little bit about what it would take to sort of merge things in different ways. Just, you know, just kind of goofing around, thinking big thoughts. Yeah, I'm still, oh, was that all of it? It was all of it. Okay. So we'll go back here. We'll go there. 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 Go there. 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 think a Twitch or Discord integration would be huge. Limit the channels, but it would be really good. Yeah, we just gotta actually look at the real implications, edge case it, blah blah blah. $186. And turn them a bit. I think there's some like APIs out there or whatever. I swear Ali said that it's not as crazy to do as you might think. So Nicodemus said, a manager at work was trying to explain to me how working as an expat in the Netherlands works. He says you pay taxes there and the US, but the company may opt to pay your taxes there for you. Have you had to do this working abroad? For me, I pay my taxes in my host country because they are typically more than what I would be paying in the US. And so essentially the deal is I pay wherever I have to pay the highest amount. And in Europe, it's always Europe. And so what then happens is I'm basically able to let the US government know how much I paid in taxes in my host country. And then the US they account for that. They go, okay, cool. The other thing that I've got to do that I didn't realize I had to do until I got like an expat accountant was you also have to let Uncle Sam know, or as the guy in this book I'm reading always says, Uncle Sugar, know that how much money I have in the bank. So I have to report anytime I've got more than like 10 grand in the bank. I've got to report that to them. They're very interested in that, and will find the shit out of you if you don't. If you're an expat and you haven't been doing that, don't worry. You can let them know after the fact, but there's like your accountant will have to write like a thing where you're basically asking for their forgiveness, so that they don't find the utter shit out of you. But then every year it's I believe it's called an FBAR, and so they just want to, I don't know, I think it's part of like money laundering or whatever. So anyways, so that's kind of been that. It was kind of nerve-wracking at first, but basically I just pay tax people to think about it. Then we'll see. So now my actual challenge this year is I basically have until, I think, is it December or no, maybe it's January of 2024. But basically I've got this coming year to pass my German integration studies. So I've got like a sloppy A1.5 in German at the moment. So I need to actually, I think it language wise, I've basically got to be at like a B1 or full A2, but I think it's B1 language level. And then I've got to basically take a test that, shows my language skills, but then also shows that I understand how the German government works and a bit of German history and stuff like that. So, which, all right, cool. I'm just really bad at school. Like I get very annoyed if I feel like the teaching's not good. And I hate sitting in class. I survived public high school because it was relatively easy and I could just kind of like get my work done and like zone out. Yeah, hopefully it won't be too bad. It's going to wind up eating up a chunk of time though. I'm going to talk to him again because I am a small business owner. It's not a German business, but at the end of the day, they're going to tax me for any money I make at this business eventually. So in theory, if I was just working here, if I was just at a company, after 5 years of working here, paying taxes, etc., they just would give me a permanent resident card. And so really, I'm gonna go to like one of the integration centers and talk to them a bit and see if I don't qualify for that. Worst case scenario, I just need to actually spend it's like 3 hours a day, 4 days a week in class. Yeah, they'd be integrating me into German society so that I could be a productive member of the German society. What the hell is this? Stop that. That's not what I was wanting to listen to. I wanted to listen to more RuneScape. Crazy man. Let me make sure that I'm on the proper playlist. Playlist, so that this dude doesn't start singing to me again. Okay. Mauai Head Olgo hat mir gefragt, sprichst du Deutsch? Ich lerne Deutsch mit Duolingo und ich habe 2 Jahre in Uni genommen. Warum machst du dies? What was your German folk playlist? That wasn't a German folk playlist. That was Welcome to the Internet, a decidedly English song parody about the interwebs. Oh, I'm sure, grimy. I'm sure it's very fun and fine, and I might even go look it up later. If I haven't seen it already, it sounds vaguely familiar. But I just wasn't expecting it. I never know what's gonna, like, we're not worried about getting demonetized. None of these videos are monetized, but I just always worry about like getting in some YouTube trouble. So, ja, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Ich habe eine A1 und ich habe das benutzt. Ich habe die Übung gemacht und die Tests gemacht, weil ich möchte in Deutschland wohnen mit meiner Frau und so. Das war, ich habe das, Dezember 2020 gemacht. Und so, jetzt habe ich für 2 Jahre hier in Deutschland gewohnt, so. Yeah. I can learn like, I can learn a little, you know, you can learn like from some phrases from Duolingo. Jasmine, my wife, she's picked up a fair bit of Russian from Duolingo. But she's also somebody that, she's somebody that just is really good at learning languages. Her English at this point is probably better than mine because the longer I live here and the older I get, the more my vocabulary just sort of diminishes. Oops. $189. Zarandal, thank you. Are you German? Bist du ein Berliner? Ich bin ein Berliner. Jasmine and I talk in German or English throughout the day. Primarily English, which is a fault. We'll spend like some days talking German. At one point I was like, we should just every once in a while be like, it's German week, and that's it, and I get forced to do it. It's nice because like my garden friends, for the most part, I speak German with them. If I'm with Jasmine's coworkers, I'll speak German with them. Thing is, a lot of people want to practice their English, so it's kind of like a, all right, as long as I can practice my. Okay, we've already done this. As long as I can practice my German while you practice your English, then that seems fair. But I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliments on my German. Yeah, I worry more about like wasting time in school to not get a great result, or feeling like I'm wasting my time than I am like whether or not I could potentially get capable of passing the test, I guess. You're French but live in Switzerland. Your level is quite bad. Funny, my partner is German and speaks perfect French, but we only speak English. You're just like, we'll meet in the middle. Never had a good brain for languages, but you thought it'd be interesting to learn Gaelic. Did you learn Gaelic, John? Yeah, so the funny thing, we talk about this all the time, like Jasmine learning Russian via Duolingo is like, she'd learn like the craziest phrases, like, the snake is in the taxi. Like, why? Why are you teaching me this? The snake is in the taxi. What am I working on? Okay, so what you've been looking at is not the most exciting looking stuff. We're working on, you know what, and we're getting up to be sort of, it's kind of that time. So I'm gonna dump this data, give you a nice little overview, Überblick, and then let's just hop in game one quick second so you can kind of see it while I send you a bunch of links. How's that sound? Sounds good? Okay, great. I'm glad you agree. So we're going to hop in game. So we're working on an indie MMORPG. It's done very much in the vein of old school RPGs from the sort of late 90s, early 2000s era. We're leaning into a lot of the sort of the classic, before we knew any better kind of design decisions, removing some of the quality of life that features that you see in modern. Here, let me pause this. Modern MMORPGs. In an effort to recreate a bit of the feel, really push the social aspects of playing an MMO together, pushing class interdependencies, and then taking, why did I click that button? I never clicked that button. And then taking some of the features that we really liked in the past, and going much deeper with them. So when people are like, well, what makes this different from like a EverQuest or Asheron's Call or like Dayak or whatever, like some game from the past, what makes it different? In many ways, we're trying to find the things that we liked about them and not necessarily make them wildly different, but really try to figure out what was the intent of these systems when they were first put in. And a lot of it was very referential of like the MUD era, DQ MUD, and pen and paper, gaming, so tabletop gaming, but you can do it online with your friends, and it's this virtual world and all of that, right? So we're leaning heavily into sort of the feel of those original designs and features. Oops. It's like with the art, with the design, we're really trying to think like what was going on in the mind's eye of the game developers in 1998. Like, what did they picture? And so there's like a fun way of doing that. If you see, we're using very old school, simple shape language. When the light comes up, you can see it a little bit because I've got this, but without it, it gets pretty dark. And so the moons are going down. It means the sun's coming up soon. I'm going to help them along a little bit now that we've had a chance to see them. But basically, you'll see that we're really just taking like a very old school vibe, a little bit blockier, a little bit simpler shape language, but I think it's it makes it more readable. We've got fun silhouettes. If you look at it, everything we're doing, it's not super busy. There's not a ton of objects everywhere sort of distracting you. It lets you use your imagination to fill in the negative space on a lot of what we're doing. But then we're gonna just continue to push like texture quality and the lighting, lots of play with lighting and the animation to make it feel current and worthy of your time, but very clearly a nostalgic homage to old game, right? And so even things, here's a fun one for people that didn't see it. So we've been making these really simple, I'll say simple because I didn't have to program them, but like simple data-driven systems that allow us a lot of versatility and a lot of ability to interact with the world. So right now we've got an example of an elevator, some doors that you can open, or they open when when it becomes daytime, they'll open on their own. But that same system is allowing us to do something like, let me make myself a torch. SI torch. I can take this torch. I can put it up on the wall. We've got objects. I think the closest example is probably over there. There's a well. And so for us, we have a ton of commands like we use the look button and we can see sort of if there's any description. Oh, daytime, door open. We can look, and if there's a description. Oh, actually it's not open yet. It's just guard walking through. I guess until the sun comes up. We can look, inspect, pull, push, taste, rub, smell, all of these like old school like text-based RPG commands we've integrated in for our interaction model with the world. Yeah, and so it's just, we want it to feel a lot like a old CRPG or like it's just a much deeper late 90s, early 2000 graphical mud. Are the moons separate objects in the skybox? Wonder if you guys can do astrology at some point and have an effect on magic depending on which constellations were in the sky. So Luna has a whole idea for this. Yeah, the moons are meant to have different moon phases. And so we've actually got an astronomy trainer in game. That what does that mean yet? We're still figuring it out, but Luna really wants to do some stuff with astrology, and I'm assuming then astronomy. And we are tying in things like moon phase to stuff like our forging system and spawning system and all of that. Similar to the old Ultima games and stuff. Have I played Valheim at all? I think a lot of what you say about simple shapes comes to mind in that game. Whenever I go to Burial Grounds in that game, I get EQ dungeon vibes. Yeah, we played a fair bit when it first came out. And again, we're inspired by that because we're a small team that's working on a game, and they were a very small team that worked on a very successful game. So we find it very inspiring. Let me turn aggro off real quick. No, actually no. Let me just go out here and then let me summon a pet. First, let me shield myself. Summon a pet. And so as far as if you want to hang out with us, you want to learn more about it, our website's here, our Discord's there. Spell effects and accompanying sounds, awesome. Yeah, they're really coming together. As you can see, like basically we've been developing this in real time. You can see all of our blemishes, like, oh, and Ashira doesn't have animations. For the first year, everything was just like a little capsule that we put in, different colored capsules. They became very beloved. But, oh man, I am powerful now. So, let's see. Phil Burrix. Phil Burrix? Thank you for the follow. Oh, I'm getting a little bit high in the levels. Aaron Gun.
Hi, everyone.
Aaron, thank you for 11 months. Yeah, I'm almost level 4. I've been playing this guy very legitimately, so this is like my ongoing test character. So in terms of aesthetic, I mean, you can see we're going my little minion. Old school, but again, nice texture quality, little tricks like the glowy eyes. Nicodemus, thank you for your generosity. Sacred. There you go. You got yourself a sub. And we're continuing to iterate on like our design of our like clothing system. This guy needs to get a belt on. If you watch the VOD from today, you can see some outfits that I was working on and just kind of the way that we edited them. But we'll just continue to be pushing on having like an old school shape, but refining the textures so that we've got the look that we want. Doing little things like attachments, but still keeping it kind of in the vein of an old school look. You can see I got a backpack on and a cape at the moment. That's just something we'll be working out the layering for how we want to handle that, or what shows or what doesn't. Then we're doing things like cloth physics and stuff, which isn't classically old school, but adds to the feel. Because at the end, what we want this to feel like is, you know, like the belief that I had going into it was, if you look at the old MMO art, I can easily believe that they are wanting to make something that looked like one of the paintings that you would see in like a D&D manual, or something that Easley or Elmore or Parkinson. I mean, Parkinson did the big paintings for EverQuest back in the day. So imagine if we can get something that really kind of is, you know, evocative of that look in terms of the textures and style, but it's still got the nice old school sort of simple blocky style. Caldwell, exactly. Phil, yep, Unity project. So, yeah. That's where we're at. That's the game in a nutshell. If you're new here and you want to check out some more about the game, like, just look through. We've got hundreds of hours of VODs at this point posted, just because we've been showing our work. The original idea for the game came up because I was playing EverQuest. I used to work on the EQ team, so I was playing EverQuest TLP and streaming, and brought on some friends and former coworkers who did interviews with me. There's a link to those as well. It's like 60 hours of EverQuest like history interviews. And so the more we started talking in chat about just kind of what we liked about the old feel of, you know, EQ and games of that era, we just decided, like, there was an idea of like, hey, given my experience with smaller MMO companies, I've worked at a few, and given sort of the understanding of how well even a niche game can do revenue-wise, you'd be shocked. Come back for another stream if you've got questions on that front. I'll blab about it, or just find the VODs. Yeah, it just seemed like it's very feasible to make the attempt. Met some wonderful people that are in the MMO emulator communities, or were in the emulator communities. We got to work. There was a team of 4 of us that kicked it off the first year, and now we're at like 14 people. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see a 2-year retrospective. It's like a 5 or 6 minute video, but it walks you through all of what I'm saying, but you can also see the visual progress from there being like just a flat plane in Blender, and us doing the first sort of bit of networking all the way through where we're at now. So yeah, check that out. It is on our YouTube page. It's on the landing page. So planes and pills, exactly. All right, y'all. It is time for me to wrap up. I need to basically go take a break and then prep dinner and make dinner for my lovely wife. And then I will be back on Thursday. Definitely Thursday. Unless something really weird and unexpected happened, I will be back on Thursday and we'll see what's been added since then. Maybe we'll just do a lot more playing if you guys are interested. I start streaming. It's 5 right now, 5:12 my time. I start streaming at 2 my time. So if you want to see more of this stream, check back in a couple hours earlier on Thursday and we will hang out. Grimy Lurk, thank you for the follow. Yeah, all right. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. My European friends, enjoy the rest of your evenings. Thanks for hanging out. It's cool to meet so many new people. I'll see you on Thursday. Check out the links. And yeah. Aaron said, would love to see some Druid gameplay. Next time we're on, I don't know. We'll see. If Luna is on, she plays, she's very into Druids. And so last time we had like a, if you check, I think previous VOD playtest, it'll be Nick playing a Paladin, Luna playing a Druid, and me playing maybe a Necro. I think maybe this Necro, so we'll see. Sakai, you're very welcome. Zarandal, you're very welcome. Good to meet you. Chinny D, you're very welcome. John, BDC Retro, see you on Thursday, I hope. Olgo, Chus, Zaba, you're very welcome. Aaron, thanks again for the 11 months. Kimmery, good to see you. I'm going to camp out now. Slash camp. And let me minimize a bunch of stuff so I can actually click the button. I'm out of here, OM gamers. There is no projected release date for M&M. Just keep hanging out here. You'll be the first to know. Join our mailing list. That's the easy way to know. There's over 2,000 of you on the mailing list, so do that. I'll go thank you for the sub. And I am legitimately, for realsies, going to find the button in my mess of a desktop and leave now. Bye-bye. Thanks, y'all.